Hello, dear friends. I have loved the Galactics dearly since I was a child, because I feel them as my own family. That's why I choose the Star Trek United Federation of Worlds logo for this channel. Opinion piece. Who are the Galactics? They usually live for thousands of years. Human form is common. They have no health problems. They are our cosmic neighbors. They are surrounded by an aura of light. Their matter has a higher frequency. They are our star family. Life flourishes throughout the universe. Only the fool believes himself unique and superior. Wikipedia speaks of various races of beings. They would be about to announce themselves to us. They have a very strong connection to Source. They are humans who will make first contact. They have a technology that seems miraculous to us. Primitive peoples regarded them as gods. They have risen above the lowest emotions. The Bible is a spiritual guide with a lot of occult Astro-Theology. In quotes, go to the people and look for a man with a pitcher of water. Is Aquarius. This knowledge was taken from us by the forces of darkness. Ezekiel's wheel is a reference to the cosmic zodiacal calendar. The Emerald Tablet of Thoth the Atlantean says things very similar to Jesus. The Gospel of Thomas speaks of our ability to manifest reality. The Pineal Gland connects us to the Creator of all things visible and invisible. Let's start. The image of the cover of this video is of Eugenio Siragusa, who was a well-known Italian ufologist and writer. He became known worldwide for claiming that he had been contacted by beings from other worlds in order to initiate a mission of redemption of humankind. Who are the Galactics? By Steve Biko. As Earth scientists search for signs of life on nearby planets, galactics more evolved than we are hover on the verge of announcing their presence en masse to the planet. We send them beeps and clicks, and they dictate messages to us through physically sensitive receivers or channels. The Galactics have an answer our scientists seek. The universe abounds with life in all varieties of manifestation. They have answers that our own scientists are not seeking. For example, that the very soul of the world, anima mundi, exists within every form. I will pretend here that generalizations can be made about the stellar nations that are about to announce themselves to us, but it is only a tentative approximation. I summarize some statements that will be replaced by first contact itself. Some of the star visitors are here to help us with our planetary transformation. Some are sending light from afar, and some are just curious tourists who stop by to see how we are doing, but do nothing. Description of the Federation itself. Commander Adamo wrote, in quotes, we include many races, and some of them are very closely related. As members of the same original species, some you might recognize are us: the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, the Antarians, the Andromedans, and those from Procyon, Aldebaran, and the Deneb. Others from outside this galaxy are also here, and others who are far above the galactic neighborhood of our universe. Sheldon Neidl's galactic sources place the Federation contingent as coming from tens of thousands of worlds. In quotes, "We, Sirians, are only a part of a large contingent of galactic humans in his first contact fleet. Other groups originate from the Pleiades and from tens of thousands of worlds surrounding the distant stars of the constellations Andromeda and Cassiopeia. They also come from solar systems in Arieus, Perseus and Pegasus, and from much closer stars such as Bernard and Alpha Centauri. These most amazing beings have come to serve and intend to arrive en masse in your beautiful confines at the appropriate time." According to the same source, the Galactic Fleet is arranged in 4 rings. In the deepest, only human star nations are allowed, so as not to frighten us. The fact that they have human appearance, all those who participate in first contact, doesn't mean that non-human space brothers are not part of the planetary transformation project. Human archetype. It appears that the human physical form exists throughout the universe, and the basic model is known as the Adam-Kadmon template. Variations in human forms arise due to differences in planetary conditions. Sirians, Pleiadians, and Venusians are very similar to us in appearance due to genetic linkage. Kern-On predicts that the Venusians could easily pass for terrestrials. On the other hand, Antarians are not as Earth-like as Venusians. Damar of Antares describes his companions, in quotes, "Our Antarian species is very tall, and we have a slender body structure. Our skull is larger than yours. We have large eyes and very small mouths. We do not have ears, but small slits in our skull. Since we communicate without speaking, our bodies have adapted to a point where we don't need anything. We have small, narrow nostrils, although we have no nose. We have no body hair, and our skin is very fair. Our skull has bony ridges on each side." Sheldon's anonymous sources describe themselves as similar, though taller. In quotes, "Our shape is quite similar to yours. We are as tall or taller. Many Pleiadians, Andromedans, and Lyrians, for example, are the same general height as you, while Sirians, Arians, and Perseans are taller. Males are usually a little over 6 feet tall, while females are usually a little under 6 feet tall. Their height is offset by their perfectly formed physical bodies." Aura of light. We will hear many galactics claim the same thing here, that they are surrounded by an aura of light, causing earthly humans to regard their visitors as gods. The same aura of golden light that surrounds saints and realized alchemists. In quotes, "Many of us are surrounded by a glowing aura. Because of this and our ability to easily transform into our light body, many of your ancestors looked upon us with awe. Greet us now, not with disbelief, but simply as your space family. Know by what you see that you behold simply what is really is. Like us, you are physical angels. Soon you will take your true form once again." The famous cryon of Earth Magnetic Service agrees that from whatever angle we consider things, historically or genetically, there is a family here, your family. That's why we love you the way we do. While there are men and women, even at the highest planes of evolution, the difference between the two may not have an anatomical basis. Diana of Sirius reminds us that beings of light are androgynous and only use physical form when they deemed necessary. You have seen them as divine being resplendent with beautiful light radiating in all directions. Mode of life. Damour describes family life of Antares. If children are born by a natural process, there may still be anatomical differences on Antares. In quotes. We have a family structure and our life expectancy may be thousands of years. The women of our species work alongside the men in their chosen profession. There are educators for the children, and they stay together. We have a deep family bond, and we spend time together when we are not working. The family unit is very strong. We travel to other planets on vacation, while our family is engaged in recreational activities or sightseeing or to learn how other civilizations live. Longer lives are normal within the higher dimensions of spiritual evolution. Salusa says that the bodies of the Syrians do not decay like ours and can be replaced as desired. Matter there vibrates at a higher frequency and is not as heavy as ours. Because the lower frequencies cannot exist there, the Syrians are not subject to the same health problems as we are. Charon of Venus says that many galactics spend periods longer than our Earth lives aboard motherships. Their technology supplies all their needs. In quotes, if necessary, we can travel to the outer reaches of space in the shortest possible time. Thanks to interdimensional travel, we can spend aboard our ship the equivalent of many of your lifetimes. Since we do not age, and if necessary, we can preserve our current body for 1,000 years. Motherships are really floating cities in space, which can satisfy all our needs, and we want almost nothing. Space travel. Adamu calls the Pleiadian civilization, in quotes, one of many races of beings that are space-bound. That is, we have ships that can traverse long distances of space. Apparently, distance doesn't present a problem for interdimensional travelers. Many Federation members, Salusa reminds us, have not evolved along the same path as us, and gain an understanding of our experience by tapping into our consciousness. Federation Galactics do not experience worry as we do, because they have the ability to adapt easily to any change, and no challenge is beyond them. Their technological superiority reportedly lends itself easily to any situation. Everything on higher planes than the physical is arranged in accordance with spiritual development or evolution. Only here on Earth we are all mixed up, the dictator with the sage, etc. Most galactics, like the Syrians, have moved far beyond their current level of consciousness. Ascended beings. Salusa characterizes Syrians as enlightened beings whose relationship with you is based on our love. He reminds us that we, star nations, have risen above the lower emotions, and we tell you this so that will you know that this is possible, of course. The haters make the same claim. In quotes, we are an ascended civilization, a group of beings who exist in a specific frequency field. with an energy signature. It is simply that we vibrate at a faster rate than you. However, we are all part of the mystery, part of the love that sustains and unites the entire universe. The ways in which these ascended beings describe themselves are often puzzling and delightful. Says Cryon of himself, "I am not three-dimensional, and I am not singular." Adamo agrees. "I am a truly multidimensional personality. That is, we all are. It's just that my consciousness encompasses many manifestations of self. Simply put, I know that I am in many places and in many realities, doing many different things at the same time. I am this and I am that at the same time, because time itself is just a tool for me, an object that extends some parts of what I have inside." Members of Arcturus make the same claim. Arcturus is one of the most advanced civilizations in this galaxy. We are a civilian of the fifth dimension and beyond. Arcturians claim they are the prototype of Earth's future and happily use our Arcturian energy to emotionally, mentally, and spiritually assist anyone who calls upon us. Lenin. Just so we can imagine, even slightly, the difference between us and some of them in information processing. Here is Damour explaining how Antarians learn. Our education and information systems deal with holographic technology. It has words, images, and numbers in its records. When information is transmitted to us, it is sent as a beam of light energy and received by our higher brain. All information is received simultaneously and integrated instantly, and we learn fast. We can also see a holographic image, and all the information contained in the image is received and integrated immediately. We can use all our brain capacity. The Sleeping Beauty of the Forest. Why are they still asleep? By Daniel Scranton of the Arcturian Council 9D. Those who were still asleep decided to stay asleep a little longer because they wanted to represent some kind of three-dimensional life circumstance, and they knew they needed to be asleep for that circumstance to have the right triggering effect. When it seems that someone in your life just won't accept the truth or your truth, remember that nothing went wrong. Not only are they making the wrong decision at the time, but they are seeking to have a particular type of experience that they can only have by staying asleep. You are there to allow everything to be as it is, and to have compassion for those who suffer, and of course to help those who seek your help. They will awaken those who are asleep now, and know that it is to you that they must look for help. Your job then is to continue to be who you are, keeping shining your light, and not to be afraid to be different from others, especially when it comes to your family, because you need someone in the group to be an example of how to be open-hearted, how to be sensitive and compassionate, and how to be aware of your feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. You can't tell someone else that they are source energy, but if they are not ready to hear that, at least you will have planted the seed. It is perfectly fine for you to let go and let everyone else live the tragedy they are choosing to live, while you live happily ever after and continue to send the invitation to the rest of humankind with your joy, your peace, your love, and your creativity. This is what you want to exude, and these are the energies that will attract the unawakened to to you when they are ready, not before, not after. Equinox. Hit into the equinox by Celia Finn. In the next 2 weeks, we will be heading into the equinox, and that means energies on the rise, because spring is coming from the north. The equinox is always a powerful time, when the rising energy of the new pushes out all that is old and needs to go. It is not an easy time, with thrilling energy and an insistent need to birth something new. I think many of you may feel as I do, just very tired and wanting to sleep. Anyway, as we head toward that pivotal moment of balance that is the equinox, we first encounter a bit of a slippery slope, called the Ides of March, or March 15th. This is always associated with unstable energies and betrayals or abandonments, also in preparation for the equinox as part of the clearing. When we have the full moon in Virgo on the 18th, which is a powerful time when the Earth Gaia energy is felt and celebrated. At this time, when the new Earth is settling into a higher level of consciousness, we can expect powerful streams of light codes at this full moon. Then comes the equinox on the 20th and the Sun in Aquarius on the 21st. In these powerful and tense times, we can always call upon the support and nurturing feminine energy of the Divine Mother. She is always there, deep within us, to help us find our balance and flow. She will help us to nourish and rest as we prepare for the new activity that must come after the equinox, as we begin to express our new mission and our new identity. Integration. Archangel Metatron. The Equinox and Integration by Jennifer Crockett. You have entered another new vibrational vortex of time and space with the March new moon. There is a greater intensity in the merging and alignment of masculine and feminine energy. You are being called to integrate and balance both aspects within you. There is also a merging or even a bleeding through of the 3D energy into the 5D, almost like a subtle shape shifting, and yet at times you are so clearly in the 5D of joy, peace, love and harmony, and just quickly return to the 3D of pain and suffering. Moving between them is the journey in actuality. As each time you enter the higher vibrational frequency of 5D, you anchor more of that energy within yourself and within the collective. It is like a roller coaster ride. As you prepare for the equinox, the balancing of day and night, there will be a greater pull to create balance within you. This is to create a space for the higher energies to flow easily through you. The last little specks of pain, fear, anger, pride, jealousy, greed, and all distortions are coming out before you so that you can see them clearly, feel them, and then love them. Integration doesn't mean overlooking or finding the root cause or even transcending. Integration is about loving the totality of who you are, seeing beyond the binary opposition of good and bad. You are invited to love what you don't like within yourself, to accept it, to allow it rather than hide or ignore it. When you love and fear, you dissolve the inner distortion. You transmute that little crushed bundle of energy. You restore that little crushed bundle of potential back to love, where every emotion and distortion originally came from, using the superpower of the divine. You were given that divine power for a reason, because you are divine. It is your superpower. So, when it feels like a flaw or a bad feeling, anything that comes up as less than perfect, you are invited to accept it, love it, and therefore transmute it. As you continue on this path, you will realize that the greatest security you have is not doing everything right, or always knowing what to do, but accepting whatever arises and loving that part of yourself. Loving acceptance of yourself is the gateway to ascension, and as you love yourself, you love and transmute the shadow of the collective, just as you wished to do when you signed up as a light bearer in this density. You are the brightness in the darkness. You are the divine remembering. Autonomy. Do not look for an external savior. Evil powers tell you to look for a savior outside of yourself. Hidden doesn't mean evil. It means hidden, which, yes, of course, the evil that controls this world has hidden itself. So everyone will keep looking for a savior outside of themselves. Why would you do that when Jesus already told us that the kingdom of heaven is within us? As also so below. As above, so below. Our Father, Mother in heaven. As above, so below. It is not written in your laws that I have said that you are gods. John 10:34. As above, so below. God exists above and God exists below. Psalm 82:6. The fall of the human being doesn't refer to a physical event. It refers to a spiritual event, the fall of humankind's level of consciousness to this 3D realm. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the evil that controls the world. It is a spiritual battle. In quotes, go to the people, to the village, and find a man with a pitcher of water. That is a reference to the constellation Aquarius, the age we are entering. Ezekiel's wheel is another reference to the cosmic zodiacal calendar. The Bible is a spiritual guide with tons of astro-theology. The ancients knew this, and astrology didn't become seen until 325 after Christ at the Council of Nicaea, when all this information was hijacked and hidden, so that we would lose the knowledge of who we really are. Anyone claiming to be God's chosen people and operating in the shadows is obviously not. We are all children of the Most High God. We are all part of the original source of universal creation. The Gospel of Thomas speaks of our ability to manifest our own reality. The pineal gland is our connection to the Creator of all things visible and invisible. Remember that your five senses only interact with what exists in the visible light spectrum, not with the 95% of matter that you cannot see. Sumerian tablets illustrate the pineal gland as a pine cone, and thus the spiral Pope's staff as the giant pine cone in front of the Vatican represents the seat of knowledge of the ancients, but that will never be revealed by the priests. That knowledge was taken from us so that we could be controlled by the forces of darkness. The Emerald Tablet of Thoth also speaks of things very similar to what Jesus spoke of in the Coptic Gospel of Thomas, found in the Nag Hammadi papyri, Egypt, which summarizes the original knowledge of the early Christians. The Gospel of Thomas is very different in tone and structure from the four official Gospels manipulated by Rome over the centuries. Breaking news. First, Many Italian paper mills have suspended their operations due to the increase in gas prices. Second, prices have risen rapidly in France, and now the government is asking the French to hold on because of the war conflict. Third, Germany will abandon oil and gas. Germany plans to become a completely climate-neutral country by 2045. It will switch to solar, wind and hydrogen energy. Fourth, the UK is working on a new $6.9 billion internet infrastructure program called Project Gigabit, with government leaders meeting with SpaceX among several technology companies. The UK government is part owned by OneWeb, as it teamed up with Indian telecom conglomerate Bharti Global to invest $1 billion to fund OneWeb's bankruptcy rescue. Sixth, North Korea will be part of the DAN digital open network environment. 7. China has threatened that if it imposes sanctions on China because it supports Russia, there will be a serious response, while North Korea has developed spy satellites. 8. WHO says it advised Ukraine to destroy pathogens in health labs to prevent spread of disease, according to Reuters. The World Health Organization advised Ukraine to destroy high-threat pathogens housed in the country's public health laboratories to avoid any potential spillover that would spread disease among the population, the agency told Reuters on Thursday. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.